Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butz, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
This episode is brought to you by Roberta's, home of Heritage Radio Network since 2009. Learn more about Roberta's at robertaspizza.com.
Welcome to Spill and Dish, a new podcast from the Specialty Food Association. Founded in 1952, SFA is the leading trade association and source of information about the $194 billion specialty food industry. We champion the food producers, retailers, and other buyers who make up the specialty food world. If you want to know more about membership, visit specialtyfood.com. While on the site, check out the new Maker Prep course, a 12-step online program that will teach you how to take your specialty food product to the next level. In each episode, we want to share the stories behind the products made and sold by our members who are helping shape the future of food. You can listen and discover the inspiration, recipe, craft, culture, ingredients, and production methods that help answer the question, what makes specialty food special? I'm today's host, Julie Gallagher, Director of Content Development at the Specialty Food Association. We're so happy to bring you today's episode and also so pleased to be working with Heritage Radio Network, a nonprofit podcast network covering the worlds of food, drink, and agriculture and expanding the way eaters think about food. Our guest today is Sam Mogannam, owner of the Bi-Rite family of businesses, which operates 2 specialty food markets, a creamery, a catering commissary, and a nonprofit cooking school and education space. Sam is also a 2023 SFA Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Welcome, Sam, and congratulations on winning your well-deserved award. I'm so pleased to have you with us today. Often our guests are from the maker side, so I'm excited to be speaking not only with a specialty retailer, but one that sets the bar really high.
Well, thanks, Julie. Appreciate it.
So can
I
you take
consider
us
myself
back?
a maker as well, though. So
Okay, we'll get into that. Can you take us back to the beginning? Because I know that Bi-Rite has been around for more than 80 years. So how did you and your family get involved with it?
Yeah. The original location in the Mission District by Dolores Park's been a Bi-Rite market since 1940. And my father and uncle were the third owners. They bought it in 1964, and it's been in our family since then. As you know, typical with lots of immigrant families, we as children were the labor. And I spent most of my childhood working in this store and spent a good 11-year period of my life from 6 until I was 17, until I graduated from high school working at this store, and just had an amazing time learning so much about just community building and people during that period. But I didn't want to be a grocer, and decided that I wanted to pursue hospitality, and got into the restaurant world, and fell in love with kitchens and cooking, and spent the next 12 years cooking in various restaurants, including my own in the financial district of San Francisco. And then the opportunity to come back to the family business came up in 1997. The market had been out of the family for 9 years. My father and uncle sold it and retired in 1989, and my brother and I decided to buy it back. And I brought a chef's perspective to the new market that reopened in 1998. And we just celebrated our 25th anniversary this past year, and it's been just an awesome, fun ride.
Congratulations. So I've never been to one of your stores, but after reading about them, I can imagine a really rich sensory experience happening once you set foot in the door. What do customers tend to see and smell at your locations?
Yeah, the sensory experience actually even starts before you even walk in the door. We've got beautiful, abundant displays of flowers outside that just kind of give you a sense of color and freshness. And then the minute you walk up to the front door, you're just assaulted with an array of colors of produce. We celebrate the local bounty that's available to us in Northern California. And so you're walking in, and in the summer, you're getting the aroma of all the beautiful peaches and strawberries that we have available. Now in the fall, there's just a bounty of apples, including many rare and hard to find heirloom apples. And then as you kind of navigate through the store, all of a sudden you begin to smell, just these aromas of cheese or fresh baked bread, and then you get hit with the smell coming out of the kitchen. We're very intentional about putting a kitchen, an open kitchen, right in the middle of the stores, so our guests can see and smell and really experience the food as it's being cooked. And as a chef myself, I just wanted to be able to cook and be present with the people that I was feeding, and so you just get this sense that all the food that's being sold is being made in that moment, and it's really fun.
That sounds so nice, and I love that you also seem to really emphasize seasonality. Tell me about that. And can that be a challenge at times when you're, switching out your offerings so often?
Yeah, but the seasonality is really important, because when food's in season and when it's coming from nearby, it's just going to taste way better. And as a cook, my whole goal with sharing food is to share food that is delicious and makes an impression, that makes you remember it and makes you want to crave it, makes you want to come back for more of it. And so it does take work to keep changing the displays and finding new sources of food, new farmers, new ranchers, new cheesemakers. But that's also the fun part. We get to celebrate these amazing, passionate producers that put so much love and effort into their work, and we get the privilege of feeding it to our guests who come in and rely on us to give them just a delicious experience every time.
Yeah. And then I understand you have a new location that you're working on. Tell me a little bit about that and how it came to be.
Yeah, it's a site in another neighborhood in San Francisco called Russian Hill, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in San Francisco. And we're purchasing an existing market called the Real Foods Company that's been in that location for almost 35 years now. And I had worked for the founding family when I was in the restaurant world, and began to get familiar with their farm direct relationships back when I worked for them as a cook, and eventually lived in the neighborhood and would frequently shop at that store because there was just great access to great ingredients. And so there's always an appreciation for the site and for its history, and an opportunity came up for us to purchase the business, and we've been working on it for the past year with the existing owner and with the property owner, and just a few weeks ago we finally signed the lease, and we'll hopefully break ground the first week of November and open in the spring of 2024.
Okay. And then, so I know that you're a chef. Tell me about your food service offerings and the hand that you play in coming up with recipes and designing menus.
Yeah. And I love feeding people, and the whole reason why I got into cooking and why I fell in love with it was just the power that selecting ingredients and turning them into a beautiful dish, a delicious dish, has. It's transformative on the person that you get to feed. And I really wanted to take that same passion and transformative power that a cook has and bring it to a retailer environment, which doesn't typically happen. And as most retailers, just designed for efficiency as opposed to the true connection that can be made with freshly made food. And I, love making simple dishes and really showcasing the raw ingredients themselves. It's primarily produce based. We have some really talented chefs in the organization who I collaborate with on creating the dishes, and our guests rely on us for food that's going to take care of them for that night, for take care of them and their family. And we've got so many different things that we make in our kitchens, from our sandwiches to our prepared salads to prepared entrees and fish, to a whole slew of grab and go items where people can come in if they're in a hurry and just grab a few items off the shelf that are ready to eat or you take home and reheat. We also make our own baked goods, cookies and cakes, and pot of cremes, and also manufacture our own line of ice cream using this extraordinary milk from the Strauss Family Creamery that's just 35 miles north of us in Marin County. And the ice cream features a lot of extraordinarily fresh and delicious seasonal ingredients from farms that we work with. And every season we collaborate with a local San Francisco chef to create a unique flavor that's representative of their vision of what their cooking and their style is, and it's a lot of fun to get to do the collaborations with other chefs in the city to create ice cream flavors as well. And so we've got all of that going on in the markets, and then we've got a separate catering kitchen that does a lot of special event catering for companies and social events at people's homes. And that catering kitchen also acts as our commissary for a lot of our packaged prepared foods.
Wow. So you definitely have a full plate, I'm sure. How do you get ideas for how your business sort of branches out to all these different areas?
A lot of our businesses are kind of a result of identifying a need that existed, and so when I came back to the family business in 1997, the neighborhood that we opened it in the mission was in a period of change. It was transforming. And so the market needed to transform with it. And so it made sense, at least to me. Many people didn't think it made sense when I explained the concept of what we were trying to do with a kitchen inside the store. But it made sense to me that, this demographic is going to want fresh food. It's going to want seasonal ingredients. It's going to want food that they can just take home and eat. And not have to go through the cooking process. And I think more than anything, it was craving a connection to where their food was coming from. and we were providing all of that. The creamery, which was the next business that we opened, was also a result of my wife, who's a pastry chef, and our partner Chris, both being pastry chefs, desire to have their own space to bake, and we found a location on our block, but didn't want to do a bakery because Tartine Bakery had already opened on our street. And so we decided to do an ice cream shop because there weren't very many ice cream shops in San Francisco at the time. And there were no ice cream shops in San Francisco that were using local organic dairy. So we decided to do that. And we wanted to partner with the Strauss family because we had a long relationship with them with selling their dairy in our markets. And so when we opened the creamery, it was an instant success. I mean, there were lines wrapped around the block for years because there was no other really great ice cream in San Francisco. And then several people started to open more ice cream shops and recognized the importance of using good milk. And that's tremendously helped the Strauss family because they increased access points for selling their milk, which helped their network of organic farmers. And then when we founded 18 Reasons, our nonprofit, that was also all about trying to take the conversations that we were happening in the store with our guests that were like a minute, 2 minutes long about where their food was coming from or the story behind a farmer, and really wanting to take them deeper and, to take the cooking techniques that we're sharing with our guests and to really give them a more in-depth opportunity to learn how to prepare food, how to cook food at home, how to empower them. And so we found a little space around the corner and started doing cooking classes, and we started to bring in producers to talk about their ranching methods or their farming techniques, to do side-by-side tastings. And people loved it, because all of a sudden they got to really intimately get to know their farmer. And that, we don't have that much access to farmers and ranchers in the city. Unless you're going to the farmer's market. And those engagements are also really, really short. It's not like you could spend 2 hours talking to a farmer at the farmer's market. And so those experiences were really wonderful for our guests. And we evolved the programming at 18 Reasons to include education outside of that classroom on 18th Street. And, now we teach, children all the way up to seniors across the 3 Bay Area counties and teach over 4,000 students a year. And many of the classes that we offer are free. And we're trying to provide nutrition education along with cooking education, just so we can give people the knowledge they need to have ownership over their own well-being, over their health, and to begin to reverse some of the issues that they're dealing with when it comes to diabetes or heart disease or high cholesterol, that we actually have the power to control if we eat right. So continuing on that transformative work that I feel is so important.
Wow, that's amazing. This seems like such fulfilling work that you do. And I read something really beautiful on your website about how shoppers should expect to feel welcome and appreciated and accepted when they step into your doors. And so this seems to tie into your mission that I was reading about, leading with love.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? Can you talk about that? Yeah.
Well, our mission is to create community through food, and that really is about leveraging food to connect our staff and our guests and our producer community together, while respecting and improving, hopefully, the well-being of our planet. So that's our mission, and food's the connector. Our core values are leading with love, to pursuing with passion, and acting with integrity. And the one that really is the most important, well, I shouldn't say it's the most important, but the one that I feel is unique to us is this notion of leading with love, which is all about respecting each other and welcoming each other, creating a space that's safe where individuals are seen and heard and appreciated for who they are. And whether that's a guest that's walking in through our threshold, or whether it's just somebody who joins our team as a staff member, or a supplier that we work with, we want everyone to feel that they're part of our community, part of our family, and that they're appreciated for the hard work and the passion and the commitment that they've made to feeding us. Because we can't do it alone, and love is just important. We need more love in this world, and I think if we expressed love more frequently, we would begin to challenge a lot of the hatred and divisiveness that is tearing so many of our communities apart right now.
And I understand that you're a certified B Corp and also among the top 5% worldwide for the best for the world in the community impact category for the past 5 years. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I'm always really impressed by companies who've achieved this status. Is it something that you're constantly striving to maintain, or are many of these practices sort of ingrained in your culture? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. You know, I think many of the assessment categories, topics in getting certified as a B Corporation were already ingrained into who we are as a company and part of our values system. But the way B Corp works and the way they challenge their community, the B Corp community, is constantly making the assessment questionnaire more challenging as you recertify every 2 to 3 years. It used to be every 2 years. Now it's every 3 years. And so they make it harder. And so the hurdle gets higher. And so it forces us to constantly be in a state of evolution and improvement on our practices. And it's one of the things that I love most about being a member of the B Corp community, is because you can't rest on your laurels just because you've achieved the status. It doesn't mean that you can stop. You constantly have to keep pushing harder and making conscious and significant improvements to how you operate. Whether it's around how you govern, how you take care of your staff, how you take care of the planet, how you take care of the general community. It all makes a difference and contributes to the value that you're finally assessed. Our community work is something that we're super proud of, and especially being recognized as in the top 5% and the best of the world. I mean, Sarah Holt, our marketing and community director, really leads that effort and has done an incredible job of programmatically making a difference in the lives of those that are often neglected in San Francisco. And I'm super proud of our entire team's efforts and the work that we do every day to support our greater community.
Do companies that have gained that certification collaborate with one another? Is it sort of like a club that you're in and maybe you bounce ideas off each other?
Yeah, there are various forums where B Corps can communicate on various topics. There's a gathering that happens locally, and then there's, I think, a national gathering that happens as well for sharing and for learning. I think one of the other benefits is that B corporations tend to seek each other out to do business with each other, and so we prioritize companies when they're B Corps as companies that we want to work with, and because they share the same values that we do. And so, yeah, it is. There's definitely that aspect of it as well.
Okay. What advice would you give a specialty food brand that's looking to gain placement on your retail shelves?
Make sure it's absolutely delicious and that you understand and know where all of your ingredients are coming from, and that the ingredients are clean. You know, we have pretty high standards for the products that we sell. I mean, as a cook, I talked about this earlier. We have a tremendous responsibility to put food in people's bodies that's going to make them feel good. And if there are preservatives or chemicals or artificial ingredients in those items, I'm just not going to feel good putting it in their body, because it's going to do the opposite of what I want, and I feel it's going to break trust with the person who's eating it. And so having a clean ingredient deck, doing great sourcing to make sure that who you're buying it from has good employment practices and good environmental management practices, and show me that you're excited about it. I so love when a producer presents something and you can just feel their passion and the origin story, whether it's like from something that they learned from their mother or their grandmother, or from a friend. It always gets me fired up when I hear it.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but before you go, we'd like for you to participate in our final segment called Take 5, where we pose 5 questions to our guest. But first, let's pause for a break.
This episode is brought to you by Roberta's, home of Heritage Radio Network. Roberta's was founded in Bushwick in 2008 and has become one of the most iconic restaurants in the country. HRN made its home inside of Roberta's in 2009, and together they have become part of the DIY fabric of the neighborhood. Roberta's is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week and serves much more than just the famous wood-fired pizzas. Their team dreams up new salads, pastas, and sandwiches on the regular. Roberta's Tiki Bar is alive and well in the back garden, serving up frozen drinks in the summer and hot toddies in the winter. Stop by the bakery and takeout spot next door for fresh breads, sticky buns, and pizzas to go. But Roberta's also extends beyond Bushwick, with multiple locations in New York City, Long Island, and Los Angeles. You can also find their frozen pies in grocery stores around the country. The spirit of Roberta's, like Heritage Radio Network, is everywhere. Here's to many more years of pizza-powered radio. Learn more about Roberta's at robertaspizza.com.
Okay, here are your 5 questions for our final segment, Take 5. What is your favorite thing about the specialty food industry?
Oh, I love the people. There's just there's so much passion in the industry, and I can never tire of it.
Okay, and what's one thing that SFA has made easier for you as a specialty food business owner and maker?
SFA has really done a great job of creating access to producers from around the world, and I so appreciate the opportunity to gather at the trade shows and to get to meet producers who I've never heard of, and to get to connect with people that I've been working with for the last 25 years. It's that in-person connection is just it's priceless.
If you weren't running a business, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be an industrial designer, engineering kind of person. I love solving problems. I like building things. And I'm a tinkerer, and more often than not, like I treat our businesses and our spaces like a constant art project of sorts.
Yeah. And what's one piece of advice you'd give a new food business?
have a clear, well-articulated mission. I think having a well-stated purpose and having values, and even taking it a step further and really crafting out a vision, what that picture of success might look like in 3, 5, 10 years, I think will help you stay focused and in your pursuit of what you're excited about doing.
How do you define specialty food?
Non-mainstream, food that's got a story, that's made by somebody who cares, got ingredients that are considered when being chosen to be put into the ingredient, into the actual recipe.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us today. You can find out more about this show at specialtyfood.com and heritageradionetwork.org. And remember to follow wherever you get your podcasts. Come back often to get to know the people who are shaping the future of food. Special thanks to Sam Mogannam and the Heritage Radio Network, the world's pioneer food radio station. This is Spill and Dish, a Specialty Food Association podcast.
Spill and Dish, a Specialty Food Association podcast, is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.